Hey everyone, welcome back to FavsChat. Today I'm going to walk you through a detailed explanation of the third episode of the K-drama Boyfriend on Demand. So grab a snack, get comfortable, and let's dive right into episode 3. The third episode begins with Mire entering another new scenario inside the virtual dating program. This time, the environment is completely different from the luxurious settings she experienced with CU. Instead of fancy hotels and rooftop dinners, Mire finds herself in a place that looks like a school campus. The entire setting has a soft, dreamy atmosphere. The campus is decorated in pastel pink tones, and many of the students are wearing pink sweaters and uniforms. The environment feels nostalgic, almost like stepping back into high school memories. It creates a warm and slightly romantic vibe, clearly designed to recreate the excitement of youthful campus life. However, Mire quickly realizes that she is not alone in this environment. Soon after arriving, she runs into someone familiar, her former classmate Suji. Seeing Suji here makes the experience feel even more realistic, as if Mire has truly traveled back in time to her school days. Together, the two begin exploring the campus. While wandering around, they eventually come across a crowd gathered around a sports event taking place in the school gym. It turns out to be a fencing match, and everyone seems excited because a talented new player has recently joined Hansei University's fencing team. The moment the match begins, Mire notices the star player everyone has been talking about. To her surprise, it's Yoonho, the same guy she briefly encountered at the end of episode 2. Realizing that this is her new virtual dating candidate, Mire decides she needs to find a way to get closer to him. So she comes up with a bold plan. She joins the fencing club herself. Soon enough, she finds herself standing on the fencing floor, wearing the protective gear and preparing for a match. The other club members gather around to watch as Mire and Yoonho face each other for a friendly sparring session. The two begin their match, skillfully moving back and forth across the floor. They exchange quick and precise touches with their fencing swords, creating an exciting and competitive atmosphere. Surprisingly, Mire actually manages to keep up with Yoonho's skills. In fact, during one moment of the match, she even manages to score a point against him, impressing everyone watching. Adding a bit of humor to the situation is the appearance of Mr. Ko. In the real world, he works as a driver connected to the virtual dating program's storyline. But inside the school scenario, he appears as a completely different character. However, unlike Siyu, who immediately showed strong romantic interest in Mire during her previous virtual experience, Yoonho behaves very differently. He doesn't instantly fall for her charm or rush into the idea of dating. This leaves Mire feeling slightly frustrated. She had grown used to the fantasy-style romance of her previous scenario, where everything seemed to revolve around her. Her dating manager quickly explains the reason behind this difference. Within the Boyfriend on Demand system, there are around 900 potential dating candidates. Each one has their own personality, storyline, and relationship progression. Some characters immediately show affection toward the user, while others require more time, effort, and interaction before they start developing romantic feelings. In other words, Mire will actually need to put in some effort if she wants Yoonho to open up to her. Meanwhile, Mire becomes so absorbed in this virtual experience that it begins affecting her real life. At work, she looks exhausted and even dozes off at her desk. She has been spending so much time inside the simulation that her focus on her job is starting to slip. Luckily for her, something unexpected happens at the office. Yeon Sung decides to take a temporary break from work. This means Mire suddenly has fewer responsibilities for a while, giving her more free time. Naturally, Mire takes advantage of the situation. She meets up with her friend Ji-yeon and the two spend time talking about their past relationships and old romantic memories. However, instead of helping Mire relax, the conversation actually motivates her even more to succeed in her virtual dating mission with Yoonho. The new scenario feels completely different from the one she experienced with Siyu. While Siyu represented a rich, confidential fantasy, Yoonho feels more like a realistic college athlete. Their interactions are more competitive and playful rather than overly dramatic. In fact, when Mire and Yoonho practice fencing together, she often manages to perform surprisingly well. Sometimes, she even outplays him during their matches, which creates a fun rivalry between them. But things become even more interesting when another character enters the picture. In this virtual reality storyline, Mire has a romantic rival named Yerin. Yerin is also interested in Yoonho and clearly wants his attention. Her presence immediately creates tension and competition between the two girls. The rivalry pushes Mire to try even harder. At the same time, she realizes something important. She actually knows very little about Yoonho. If she truly wants to connect with him, she will need to learn more about who he is. Eventually, an opportunity presents itself. One evening after dinner, Mire and Yoonho happen to walk back toward the dormitory area together. As they make their way across campus, the weather suddenly changes and it starts raining. To avoid getting soaked, they rush into a nearby laundry room to dry off. The moment feels quiet and slightly awkward, but also surprisingly intimate. However, this situation reminds Mire of a similar moment from her past relationship with her ex-boyfriend Sejun. Being in a small room together during the rain brings back memories she thought she had already moved past. For a moment, she becomes lost in her thoughts, remembering different moments from her time with Sejun. Yoonho notices that something is on her mind and gently brings her attention back to the present. While talking with her, he jokingly mentions her dramatic hair flip, something she attempted earlier in class while trying to impress him. The light-hearted comment helps break the tension, and he also reassures her that she doesn't need to worry about Yurin competing for his attention. Later, when Miri returns to the real world, she continues thinking about her past relationship with Sejun. She remembers how they used to argue about small things, including social media posts. Ironically, she notices that Sejun has become much more active on social media now that he is with his new partner, Yumi. Trying to avoid overthinking everything, Mira decides to immerse herself even deeper into the boyfriend-on-demand experience. She even starts taking naps in the comfortable chairs in her office break room, so she can jump back into the simulation whenever she gets the chance. At the same time, there is still a subtle dynamic between Mire and her co-worker Kyung-nam. One evening after a team dinner, the two step outside the restaurant and briefly talk. Mire casually mentions that she has a date-related plan, which is why she can't stay out any longer. She quickly prepares to leave. Kyung-nam pulls out his umbrella, but instead of walking with her, he unexpectedly rushes off in another direction, leaving Mire standing there by herself. And that word alone perfectly describes how Mire feels later that night. While browsing online, she suddenly discovers some surprising news. Sejun and Hyumi are getting married. To make things even more awkward, she receives an invitation to their wedding. Not long after, Sejun calls her personally. He apologizes, knowing that seeing the announcement might have been uncomfortable for her. The situation stirs up complicated emotions for Mireille. As a result, she decides to use the final 4 hours remaining on her Boyfriend on Demand subscription. However, her mood is not the same as before. The excitement she once felt while entering the simulation is now mixed with lingering sadness. While riding a bus in the virtual world, Yoonho notices that something is bothering her and tries to comfort her. Because Yoonho's personality reminds her of the early days of her relationship with Sejun, Mireille begins reflecting on her past more honestly. Instead of focusing only on the painful memories, she also remembers the happy moments they shared. These memories appear in her mind like pieces of a story, some joyful, some bittersweet. In a quiet way, this moment helps Mireille begin letting go of the emotions she has been holding on to for so long. And that's where episode 3 leaves us, with Mireille slowly learning more about herself, her past relationships, and what she truly wants moving forward. If you enjoyed this explanation, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to FavsChat for more K-drama recaps and episode breakdowns. Also, leave a comment below and let me know your thoughts about this episode. I will be back soon with the explanation of the next episode. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.